You ready? Let's do it. Hit it. Hit it, Jimmy. Tell me when.
Every episode, longer.
Longer. All right, here we go. 1, 2. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of King of the Court. We are joined with Jimmy Miller, who has quickly grown to stardom.
I don't know about that, but
And I am your host, Tyler Leung. We have a busy day today.
we do. We got a lot to talk about.
But first, we have some exciting news. Do you know what that is, Jimmy?
We got a new sponsor.
We have a elevated sponsor.
Elevated sponsor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is The Pickler, who also owns The Pickler Shop. They have decided to come in as title sponsor. So that's big news for us because that is allowing us to produce a little bit more of these shows, make these episodes a little bit more spicy, just a little bit better produced, and kind of talk about Pickler a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm excited. Pickler's great. You know, we're both big fans. We obviously play at The Pickler. We shop at The Pickler Shop. So yeah, it's huge. I mean, I'm pumped.
Really appreciate their support and for being the title sponsor of this podcast. They have given us a special code that we can share with you guys to help save yourselves a little bit more money when purchasing for pickleball paddles, equipment, bags, whatever it might be. Use code KOTC at checkout and you're going to save a little bit of money and support us and them. So if you want to help us or just save yourself some money, check it out. What's our next sponsor?
Next, we're going Crown.
Crown Pickleball.
Crown Pickleball, rocking the hat today.
What are you wearing, Jimmy?
Thanks to Crown for sending us the trucker hats. Kind of sick, right?
They also sent us a bunch of other swag, I guess you can call it. Some towels, some other stuff that we're going to be probably handing out every once in a while.
Yeah, but these hats are pretty sick, honestly. Go check them out.
So, Crown Pickleball, they make this awesome ball. We've been using it the past, 3-4 weeks or so. We haven't broken any yet. We like using it. They're cheaper than most other balls, and they don't break. So check them out. Use code KOTC at checkout at crownpickleball.com. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
What, 3 for $8.99?
3 for $8.99 with free shipping if you use our code KOTC.
You can't beat that, honestly.
Actually, you probably could with price, but not for terms of overall.
Yeah, price, quality. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Okay, next, we'd like to give a big shout out to Mod Balls. Mod Balls, these are actually the last 2 that I have at this current time, so I'm going to have to order some more, get some more from Mod Balls. They're incredible. They give you fuel. We talk about them every show. Why have you not gotten your Mod Balls yet? Use code KOTC. We got a special code now.
KOTC.
It's great. Little snack for you to snack on throughout the day when you're playing in pickleball, basketball, soccer, whatever it might be. If you need a little boost, eat them. They're great.
Love Mod Balls. Big fan.
And then the last one is Vulcan Pickleball.
Yeah.
I've been sponsored and using Vulcan for 3-4 years or so.
Yeah.
Great products. They have really good bags. That's maybe one of their most popular items, their V-Pro backpack.
That V-Pro backpack, I promise you it's the best looking backpack on the market.
Jimmy just went to New York. We'll get into that. And he had that backpack with him everywhere.
I took it with me.
We went to the St. Regis Hotel, very expensive. And here was Jimmy walking around with his V-Pro backpack in the St. Regis.
Just trying to act like I belong. I didn't look like I belonged, but I acted like it.
Anyways, if you want to check out any of their products, use code KOTC at checkout for a discount on your order.
First, we got there Tuesday night, right?
Tuesday night, Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. Richie came over to the hotel when we got in. Yeah. We went and sat down. We discussed our draft strategy, and then we actually went out to dinner with Richie and the owners of the Breakers,
and some other players as well,
and some other players, and so. Again, nobody's safe on King of the Court.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these players walked in, right?
And a lot of these players are players that Jimmy has talked about, good or bad, in the past.
Yeah. I mean, we could say, Rafa, Fed, Pablo was there, Connor Garnett was there, Vivian Glassman, Dominique Schaefer. Yeah. There was a long list of players, Zach Taylor. And they walk in, And I love Rafa's sunglasses on the hat. And he walks right up to me, and Larry looks right at me, and I don't know if anybody knows who I am. Let's be real.
You're still nobody.
I'm still a nobody. And Rafa says, love your shit, dude. Love it. Absolutely love your pod. And yeah, dude, we had a great dinner with all these players. Sat down. Vivian Glausman at one point looked over at me and just said, thank you for hyping me up for Premier. She's like, it actually made me emotional because somebody believed in me, and she ended up getting drafted Premier. So I feel like she owes a little bit of that to us. But I will say this, true to Jimmy Miller fashion at that dinner, I did ask Rafa why he wears sunglasses on his hat indoors.
And what'd he say?
He said, I got to pay the bills. So my guess is it's a sponsorship for those sunglasses. And so he's wearing those sunglasses at all times because it's one of his sponsors.
Which one is it?
I don't know. Maui Gym? I don't know. I have no idea.
Oakley?
Maui Gym? I have no idea. But that's what he said. So, yeah. Also, one other thing that Rafa said is he said, why does everyone bash on my Adidas paddle? It's good. He said, it's good, and I'm getting a new one, and it's going to be even better. So there you go. Look out for Adidas coming out with a new paddle.
All righty.
From the mouth of Rafa. So yeah, so then the next day, MLP Draft. While you walk in, Tyler and I, and who was the first person we saw?
I think there was a couple, but one of them that I saw was one of these higher ranking officials with this organization that we were talking about. And I said hi to this person, but this other person looked at you and gave you a dirty look.
Absolutely stared at me and literally wanted no part of me. Okay. She looked at me
and Jimmy ran away like a little baby.
I didn't even know who she was. I'll be real. Like if I'm a nobody, I mean, other than to maybe the MLP, yeah. So I just walked right past her. I didn't know who she was. But then we see Steve Kuhn. Mm-hmm. And Steve walks right up and big smile. I mean, that dude never stops smiling.
He loves to talk.
And he was pumped. He was like, Jimmy, I feel like I feel like I know you, but I've never actually met you.
Yeah.
And then we sat down with Zane and Thomas and we did the live stream. So if you haven't watched that live stream yet, it's worth a rewatch.
The production quality was awful though, right? Production
quality wasn't great because there were some issues, but they did their best. Some Karen got on there and was like, this is horrible. It's a mom and pop shop, and Thomas wasn't having it. And so, yeah, we live streamed the first round. We got to watch the draft. We got to talk to, like I said, Brooks Wiley was there and Cameron Blackwood and, Dave Fleming even came over and, talked to me for a little bit. And it was kind of surreal. It was surreal, one, that these people even cared.
So real quick, let's kind of fast forward a little bit. This is all good, but kind of give us a setting of how the setup was, like a visual.
So they had every team, all 12 teams had.
And this is at New York in Central Park at City Pickle.
At City Pickle, yep. So there's all the pickleball courts. And then every team has a tent.
Yep. So they had 12 tents in a row right next to each other.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Right next to each other. And then what they did was for the first round, they would come over with the camera. Cameron would come over. She would give you Cameron and a camera. And she would give you a sheet and you would write down your pick. And then they would obviously announce the pick. And then they would have you, they'd basically have you like do a short little interview. Mm-hmm. And so they're having the owners do the interviews right there. Like I said, people are playing pickleball on the courts, which was kind of rad. It kind of made it remind a little bit of tennis sucks, though, as everyone's trying to, and that's all you hear. But anyways, so then they would announce their picks, and then the rounds 2 through 4 they weren't doing interviews, and so what they would do is they would just send their picks via WhatsApp or text message. But the production was amazing. It was a big deal. You had 2 minutes between picks. Plenty of people went over that. It did not lack drama at all, which is always amazing. So yeah, while we're there, we'll stop at that point. Let's go to the picks for a sec.
Let's get into the teams because most of the people listening, they know the setup. So yeah, let's go through the picks. We're going to go through Premier first. Yeah. And then depending on how much time we have left, maybe we'll do a whole separate pod for Challenger.
So there were some rumors that the Slice were not going to take Ben.
Yes, at the last minute.
At the last minute. Now, there's rumors out there. I don't know if I'm allowed to say them on our pod. Mm-hmm. Am I?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's some rumors that one paddle company is about to buy another paddle company. And if that happens, the Slice, we're going to take somebody else.
Yeah.
However, they're kind of in a dead period right now is what the rumor is. And so the Slice take Ben.
Yeah.
Nobody's surprised. great pick. You can't go wrong with Ben Johns as your number one pick.
So we're just going to go through all of their teams. We'll start with the Slice first, and then after that, we'll just go A through Z alphabetically. So Slice, which had the number one pick, like we just said, they went with Ben Johns.
Yeah.
And then their second pick was that a little bit interesting to you?
That was interesting to me, yeah.
So it's Jesse Irvin.
Yeah, it was Jesse. I mean, Jesse, like I said, I think Jesse's a great player. She did go first round last draft, but I don't feel like Jesse's moving great. I don't feel like she's been at the top of her game recently, but maybe she's doing a little bit better. But yeah, they went with Jesse with their second pick, which I thought was interesting.
And then did they have the back-to-back?
Then they went back-to-back.
So they had back-to-back. So Ben chose Jesse.
Yep.
And then the third one was also a little bit interesting to me as well.
Lacey
Schneeman.
Now, here's a fun fact about the draft.
Okay.
Connor Pardo, who's the Black Diamonds owner and picked right before Ben on the back-to-back, said he knew Ben was going 2 girls, and that's why he went Irina, because he knew that that's who Ben wanted. So he felt like he sabotaged Ben, and now and he wanted Irina anyways, but
Connor also, I'm sure it was in jest, but he said that because he picked Anna Lee and they were interviewing him, and he said Chicago Slice made a big mistake by not taking the best player in the league or something.
Are you sure it was in jest with Connor? I don't know.
And then with the fourth one, we got Eric Lang.
So Eric Lang, listen, Eric.
So you did not think, you said he was getting...
Eric, I was wrong, okay? I was wrong. I didn't think you... I don't want to say, but okay, I didn't think you belonged in Premier.
Does he belong?
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he had a great season in Premier, but go
Imagine
prove
how thrilled and how happy he was.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. That's great. Like I don't have anything against Eric Lang. I'm sure he's a great guy. I just didn't think that he belonged in Premier. And honestly, Ben does, and I think Ben should have taken Stefan with that pick over
even Tardio.
Somebody over Eric Lang.
Yeah.
I mean, Rob Nunnery. That would have been a great team.
Chemistry would have been off the charts.
Would have been absolutely insane between Ben and Rob.
Yeah.
Bring the freestyle boys back. Yeah.
So how do you think they'll do overall? Because everyone talks about...
So it's really hard to bet against Ben Johns, okay? Now, and also Jessie actually is she's played pretty decent yesterday at PPA Denver, which we'll talk about in another pod, but she played pretty decent. Went pretty deep with AJ. I think they went semis, maybe quarters. But anyways, I don't know. I mean, Ben's going to do what Ben does, but that team's going to go how those girls go. And Jessie and Lacey Schneeman is not the strongest female duo. And honestly, Eric Lang with Jessie or Eric Lang with Lacey is not the strongest duo either.
I think it's going to be a lot more difficult.
And it's a terrible, absolutely awful, which I can't believe I'm saying this for a team that has Ben Johns on it, but it's the worst Dream Breaker team. Eric Lang does not play singles. He can't play singles. Lacey's okay. Jessie doesn't move well enough. So Ben may have to go undefeated some.
So if would you put them in the top 3, top 5?
I put them like 6 or 7.
Okay.
Out of 12, right in the middle.
Okay.
Because of Ben. If you take Ben off that team and you give him anybody else, that's the bottom team.
Okay, moving on. Atlanta Bouncers.
Okay, Atlanta Bouncers had the worst draft by far, in my opinion. They started off with Paris, which, again, I don't know if Paris is a first-round pick, but the Bouncers are owned by Anheuser-Busch. They love marketing. They love, Paris. I mean, Paris fits the bill. She fits everything that they're trying to do.
Fun fact, me and Jimmy were in an elevator with the GM after a party, and she confronted Jimmy a little bit about his thoughts on their team.
She said, how do you think, she asked somebody else, how do you think my team did? How do you think our draft went? And then looked right at me and said, I know you hate it. She wasn't wrong. I didn't love it. Paris, I don't know. I don't think Paris is a first round pick. I don't think Paris is that great.
So I actually think her and Simone should do decent in women's doubles.
They should do fine. I mean, they went Simone second, then they went Pablo third, and then Hunter Johnson, Paris's boyfriend, ironically fourth. Ironically. So they went 2 challenger players from previous seasons.
And Hunter played with the Bouncers last season in challenger level.
Exactly, yeah.
So the GM, the ownership, they know who he is. They know what he's capable of to some extent.
And fun fact, the Bouncers were actually going to take another female, and this female told them no. she didn't want to play for them because they were set on taking Hunter. Just so you know. And so they ended up taking, so Paris, Simone, Pablo, and Hunter, it's the worst team. On paper, it's the worst team. APP All-Stars, good for them. Go win some low-level APP events, but this team will not compete for an MLP title.
Arizona, AZ Drive.
So AZ, Morgan Evans is the GM. By the way, one more thing about Atlanta. Their GM couldn't even talk to us on the live stream without them going through their legal team. Because they're owned by Anheuser-Busch, they literally can't do anything without it going through legal, which I thought was really interesting. AZ Drive, Morgan Evans drafted this team, owned by Larry Fitzgerald, Devin Booker. So they went with the biggest reach in the first round, in my opinion, first, which was Julian Arnold.
Okay.
They followed that up by
that was number 7 pick.
7, I think, yeah. I don't think Julian is worthy of the 7th overall pick. I understand about his success last time, but he's just not a 7th. I'm sorry. He's a mid-second, early 3rd guy, in my opinion. So a little bit of a reach, but I understand they're trying to capitalize on that success. Then they went Vivian David, which again is a huge reach, in my opinion. She's not a killer. She's not a dominant female player. She can't control a match. She can't take over a game. She's a good complementary player, but she's not a 2nd-round pick female.
Yeah.
They followed that up with
Deckel, which I thought was kind of their saving grace.
Yes, that team, honestly.
You could easily flip Deckel to be their number 1 pick.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that team would have honestly ended up below Atlanta had they not ended up taking Deckel and stealing Deckel. And then their very final pick was Vivian Glassman, who they brought up from Challenger. Glassman she's raw, she's young, she's fairly new to pickleball, like legitimately new, not like Christian Alshon.
I think her talent is there, but she just needs a little bit more experience. I've played with her in rec games, and she's fire. She's great, but I've also seen her in tournament matches where she doesn't play to the same level that she was playing in practice.
Yeah, and my worry about Glassman, truthfully, is that, I don't know how to say this, but I think that she's a nice person. She's having a good time. She's enjoying her life. Does she, one, have the work ethic? Not saying she does or doesn't, but does she? And number 2, can she be an alpha on a team with Vivian David? Because they need it. And so I don't know if Arizona. I'm going to put Arizona in that 8 to 10 range probably.
Her and Deckel height combined is like
Glassman's freaking tall, dude.
She looks like a volleyball player.
Yeah, she went out to dinner with us. We played ping pong and hung out, and she is tall. That was the first thing I noticed about her. She is tall. So,
all right. So you said you put them in the 8 to 10 range?
I put them in the 8 to 10 range, yeah.
Okay. Moving on, we got Bay Area Breakers.
So here's the thing that I've learned about MLP Draft. Every single team has a fatal flaw. Every team does. Yeah. So the break, or something that could be a fatal flaw. So the breakers are interesting. I love the breakers' first 2 picks. They went 2 females, and it doesn't matter what order you go in, but they went Leia and Etta. I think that's a very, very strong female team. The next 2 picks are definite wild cards, and it's going to really depend on how they do. So they went Connor Garnett and Rafa Hewitt, and I think they went Rafa
then Connor, yeah.
Yeah, so they went Rafa then Connor. That's interesting to me because I think, again, another challenger level player.
Connor was playing challenger last season, and he moved up to 4th round. Sorry,
4th round, yeah. But I do think Connor was probably the best player in challenger last year. Him and Pablo. I think that's pretty clear cut. So yeah, that team's going to go how Rafa goes if you really want to know the truth.
Yeah,
because I think Connor's going to be pretty consistent. He's having a good run this weekend in PPA Denver. Connor's a great singles player. I think his mixed doubles is getting better. He's pretty freaking relentless. But him and Rafa, it's going to go how Rafa goes. And Rafa is streaky. When he's good, he's really, really good.
Yeah.
And when Rafa's in shape and motivated, he's really good.
Yeah.
But there's 2 different versions of Rafa, right? And so, yeah, I think if you get that version of him, that could be a very solid team. They should be one of, if not the best women's team, in my opinion.
Yeah. What ranking would you give them?
I'm going to probably put them in that. I could say they go anywhere from as high as 3 or 4, as low as 7 or 8. It really depends on what Rafa shows up.
Okay. Next, we got the Brooklyn Aces.
The Brooklyn Aces, Team Tyler Loom.
Real quick, I'm actually looking at the Team Duper, and it looks like the Brooklyn Aces has one, if not the highest Team Duper.
Okay.
So it has us as 24.91. There might be one or two others that are higher than us, but
so yeah,
for what it's worth.
So that doesn't surprise me at all. So the Aces, I mean, they went Catherine first. I think they had the 4th pick or 5th pick.
5th, I think.
Okay, so Catherine first. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You get the number 2 overall female. You either go Catherine in that situation, or you go someone like, I think J-Dub went after her, Dylan, something like that. But I think you take your chance with Catherine. And then in the second round, they went Hayden, right?
No.
Or Coop.
Coop.
So second round, they went Coop. Dude, I am not. So I feel like Coop, I used to love Coop's game. Okay. I think that last few months, Coop, I don't know what's happened. I feel like she hasn't played her best. I mean, it's not that long ago that she beat Annalie.
Yeah, she beat Annalie in MLP in Daytona.
In Daytona. So it hasn't been that long. So maybe it's just a lull of a stretch for her. But when Coop plays, when she plays her best, she's good.
Yeah.
She's a really, really good player. So I think if you have Coop and Catherine, that's a strong female team.
She's got Beer City Open next week, which she runs. So
Yeah.
I'm sure once that is off her plate, then she might be able to focus a little bit more.
Yeah. And obviously Catherine's a great singles player. How's Coop at singles?
I know she was very high level tennis. She played at UCLA. I don't know if she's ever really signed up for singles tournaments in pickleball.
Okay. And then third round, they go Hayden.
Hayden Patrick.
Which Hayden, Big H. I mean, Hayden moved up from 4th to 3rd. I mean, Hayden was a rock star. In MLP Mesa, he sucked. Hayden, sorry, you did. But in Daytona, he was really freaking good. And in San Clemente, he was even better. If you get that Hayden that continues on that progression, dude, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
And then with the 45th or 46th pick, they end up taking you, which again, I think is a steal. I think at that late in the draft, 3 or 4 picks to go, to get somebody who won 2 MLPs, two tournaments last time, somebody who's been to a super finals, someone with all the experience, someone that can mentor and play next to Hayden. And then also, I mean, who do you plan on playing mixed with? You think Coop or Catherine?
I think we're going to feel it out. I mean, I think on paper, they kind of wanted me to play with Catherine, just because we've actually played together and we've had success.
Yeah.
But I could easily play with Andrea. I like her. She's steady.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Hayden can play just fine with Catherine.
So my opinion on the Aces is that I don't think that there's like, how do you say this? Like, I don't think that you guys have like a superstar like a Ben or an Annalie, but I think that consistency across the board, there's nobody that's awful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, not that anyone has anyone awful, but there's no like huge drop off. There's not. So yeah, I think that you guys could easily finish in the top 4. You should finish top 4 or 5. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And yeah, I think you're really solid. And I think Hayden is the catalyst on that team. If Hayden continues his progression that he's on, you guys are going to be tough.
Cool.
So,
do you think him going 3rd was good? Or appropriate?
I mean, I think that he's coming off a lot of hype right now. And so I think because of his performance at San Clemente, that's what kind of propelled him into the 3rd round.
Cool.
I don't know. I mean, would I have taken him 3rd? I'm not 100% sure, but at the end, I mean, they got him and you. So even if they flip-flopped it still worked out.
Okay, moving on. Columbus Pickleball Club. So
Columbus is great, dude. Columbus we have some stories about Columbus.
let's hear them.
Okay, so Columbus takes J-Dub in round 1.
And what pick were they, like 6?
6. I think they were 6. Okay. So here's the interesting thing about MLP. Generally, when you draft somebody in the first round, these GMs, they will get on the phone with that player and they'll try to have that player help draft the rest of the team. And like we said about the draft, the very first pick is announced in person live, right? They have the camera. And then after that, they just send it to like a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So Columbus picks J-Dub. And then their second pick was
Megan
Dazan, who get well soon, Megan. I guess she has a concussion right now. Second pick was Megan, which again, I love both. I like J-Dub. I like Megan. I think you're good there. Then in the 3rd round, they announce at the draft that they're taking Maggie Brasha. right? And it's announced, and they do the whole filming, and they do the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, Cameron Blackwood says, oh, wait, never mind. They're not taking Maggie. Hang on. So do you know what happened?
I don't, but I think you have a little bit more info than I do.
So, like I said, when you pick somebody, they start helping with their draft. After the first round, everybody just drafts on they log into a WhatsApp.
Does it have to be WhatsApp, or is that just what they've been using?
That's just what they've been using. Okay. So all the owners get in WhatsApp, and that's how they submit their picks.
Gotcha.
Right? Well, I guess Julie Johnson submitted Maggie Brasha in the WhatsApp. She made the pick. And the GMs were like, wait a minute, that's not who we choose.
Yeah.
And Julie just went ahead and I don't know if there's a miscommunication where they were like, hey, yeah, you know, or if Julie just thought, I'm going to make this pick because I want to make this pick, or if she just thought, you know, J-Dub's.
It's Julie's team.
It's Julie's team now because J-Dub's first round. I don't know, but Julie made the pick.
Yeah.
So then the GMs were like, no, and like kind of freaked out a little bit. And so then we had some confusion, a couple minutes go by, and then they take Maggie anyways. End up deciding to stick with Maggie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they stuck with her. And I talked to the GM, Ryan, and I'm not sure if they stuck with Maggie because, you know, they kind of felt bad, or if they ended up just reviewing the board and realized that was probably the best choice still. But there was just a lot of confusion. So then in the fourth round, J-Dub, allegedly, rumors, wanted Tardio. And Columbus decided...
Which Tardio and J-Dub played last season, and they live close to each other, so they practice all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And they ended up going Colin Johns. I don't know. What do you think about that? Not taking who your number one pick wants.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I would have thought they would have gone with Tardio for sure in this situation. But I mean, Colin's a great player. He's a great right side player. Yeah. So
I mean, Colin and J-Dub should be fine, right? I would assume that you're going to have to pair.
The question is, if they do well, does Colin drop Ben?
Yeah, for J-Dub.
For J-Dub.
Yeah, right.
How funny would that be?
I mean, the thing with that team is it's the all personality team. Like,
you got J-Dub, Megan, who's not very vocal. She's going to be the most vocal on that team.
Yeah, Megan's got to be like the vocal energy. Megan, wildly enough, like Megan, who is pretty even kill, but she has her moments where she can get fired up. But she's got to be the energy on that team. Like she literally has to be the one to fire that team up, which is kind of wild to think about.
And in MLP, energy matters. I remember the very first MLP, there was a team that was very similar with a lot of players that didn't have much energy or they weren't vocal, and it just showed. It just showed.
Yeah. All right, so moving on.
We got DC Pickleball Team. So,
and real quick, Columbus. I think Columbus could be pretty good if Colin. Man, I just hate Colin's mixed game. It's so bad. But the same thing. They're going to go as Megan and Colin go. I think Columbus has a chance. Like I think you're going to see them one tournament sneak into a playoff, and then the next tournament they might finish 9th.
Yeah.
So
okay, DC Pickleball Team. They were 4th, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So DC traded with Orlando. They were 4th. Orlando was 3rd. They ended up trading and swapping picks, and DC ends up taking Riley Newman.
Okay.
And then
good pick there.
Great pick. I mean, you can't go wrong with Riley Newman. Like he's a solid player. He's probably the clear-cut number 2 male in the world. And then they follow that up with the Kawamotos, both of them, Jackie and Jade. Right?
Yes, and that's a steal, as a lot of people were saying.
Yeah, I mean, you get them both. You get both the twins. They're used to each other. They play together. You have a solid women's team. They're great mixed partners. One's a lefty. One has thinner eyebrows. That's how they describe themselves. That's not me saying that. I think it's a good pick. And then
They had the 44th pick, right?
Yeah.
So they came around at the very end. They had the 44th pick. Christian Alshon was on the board. I was on the board. AJ Kohler was on the board.
Yeah.
Tardio was on the board. Nunnery was on the board. Yeah. There's still a decent amount of Eric Lang was on the board.
Yeah.
There's still a decent amount of players that were.
Yeah. And we get maybe the most wild out of left field pick. And he takes Christian Alshon.
Yep. Do you know anything behind that, or was that just
allegedly? The rumor is that Riley wanted to take somebody else earlier, right? Who was it? Somebody over Kawamoto.
Yeah.
Do you remember who it was?
I do.
You can say.
I think he wanted Jesse is from
That's what it was.
Yeah.
He wanted Jesse over Jackie, right? And DC wanted Jackie, and DC took Jackie and then took Jade. And so Riley was pissed off, and he took Christian Alshon just to piss off the owners. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I'll just say that I talked to somebody who was close to the draft, and he did not deny those rumors.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very interesting because, I mean, Riley's playing with AJ.
Yeah.
Like, AJ would be the clear cut.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing against Christian. I like Christian, but just those two, I don't think they've ever played.
Well, it's weird. If AJ's good enough for you to play PPA with, why isn't he good enough for you to play MLP with?
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing is you could have actually two real-life partnerships on one team.
That are playing week in, week out.
Yeah, which nobody gets, right? And just from a pure money standpoint, you've got the Takea partnership and the money of having them all together. And Riley takes Christian. So it sounds like Riley was like kind of did it out of spite, allegedly, because he was mad that he didn't get to choose his other pick. So I don't know, but I think Christian's, I don't know how he's going to do. Honestly, I would have taken Nunnery over Christian. Obviously, I'd have taken you and AJ over Christian too. Was Jay DeVilliers still on the board too?
I don't think so. Okay. I think he went maybe right before then.
Okay. So I don't know. I think Christian's a little bit of a wild card, and Christian and Riley, holy crap. Like, if anybody's not going to put up with Christian's antics, it's going to be Riley Newman. So that'll be interesting to see.
As long as they win, I don't think he'll care what they do. But as soon as they start losing, that's where the true colors come out.
Yep. So now we go Dallas.
Dallas Pickleball Club.
So Dallas was Dave Fleming selected Dallas.
Yep. So he chose James Ignatowicz.
Yep.
Big Papa Jimmy.
And then he went Callie Smith.
Elise Jones. And then he finished it with, who? Jay DeVilliers.
Oh, yeah. Then he finished it with Jay. Yep. So.
Which Jay, the very first season, was a number 1 pick at like 9 or 10 or 11, something like that.
So here's the thing with this team. This team would have been really, really good in 2021, 2022. How this team does in 2023 remains to be seen. James is obviously the youngest and the one with all the potential in the world. I think we know who Callie is. We know who Elise is. We know who Jay is. And I believe, didn't Jay play with Elise last year? Was he on the Shock? Or was he not on the Shock?
Yeah, last season.
And they didn't do great.
I think they did okay. I think it was fairly average, maybe slightly better than average.
So
I think actually they switch him and Simone sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, this team, it's interesting. I mean, Callie and Elise can play together. I did think Elise was a steal as late as they got her in the 3rd round. And we talked about that on the live stream. I think that we were surprised she was still there. I kind of forgot about Callie a little bit because I always tended to lump Callie with Lucy. I think this is a spot where instead of Callie, we probably would have seen Lucy go. And Callie maybe fell a little bit further, but without Lucy in the draft, But I think they're solid. I think that, again, this is the same thing. Like, nobody is dominant and nobody doesn't have a fatal flaw. And this team, James shows up. If the Dreambreaker James from last season shows up, they're going to be in trouble. They're not an amazing singles team, right? They have some good, solid singles players across the board.
On paper, I think you'd think they would be. Jay, he plays singles. Elise actually plays. Callie plays. And James plays.
Yeah. But you just don't, I don't know.
By going off their past history.
Their past history. But I think that Dallas is a team that could come up and actually win an event. And then, but I would predict that they're going to be kind of more in that middle of the pack, 5 or 6 range.
Okay. All right, moving on. Miami Pickleball Club.
Miami went wild. Miami went what a team from Miami would do. They did exactly if you're in Miami, they did exactly what you thought they would do. So they went Fed first, Tyson second, and then they went Tyra Black third, and then they went Brasha Mary fourth. What a Miami thing to do. So you take Fed first, who I don't think that's a terrible pick, right? Fed's playing well. He's solid at singles. He's good at mixed. I mean, he's really good at singles. He's getting better at mixed. He's a good men's doubles player. And then you take the king, self-proclaimed king of Miami, allegedly already.
He tweeted that.
Yeah, already calling himself that in Tyson.
I think somebody responded to this, which I had the same thoughts, but they're like, you were picked second, so wouldn't that make you the prince?
Yeah, exactly. He's the jester of Miami. But anyways, so you have him and Fed together. I don't know how they're going to do, honestly. I think that you kind of have two dominant personalities, and it might be really interesting to see how they do. But they're talented enough that they should be fine.
I think their men's should be fine. It's going to be their mixed doubles and
then what they did was they literally swung for the fence. Yeah. They were like, look, we got to try and hit a home run. And so they went with Tyra.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that Tyra has got to take that next step. She's got to blow up. She's got to be the Tyra that you and I think that she could be in a few months, especially in the third round. Because I think Tyra would have been there in the fourth still. And yeah, she came from challenger to the third round. That's a huge jump. And they're relying a lot on her because she's a left side female, and she's their number one female pick. And then to take Mary, Mary's pretty consistent. She's not bad. I think she's the lesser of the two Brasha sisters.
Yeah, I mean, up until maybe a year ago or so, she was by far the better one. But Maggie's been doing much better recently.
Yeah, so I think Maggie's passed her. And so, I think that's probably the weakest women's doubles team. But it all depends on Tyra. That team... If Tyra takes a step and blows up, then that team's going to be very, very good. If Tyra stays where she is and her progression is slow, that's going to be a team in that 8 to 12 range.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Orlando Squeeze. So they came in with Anna Bright as their number one.
Yeah.
And then they went. Who's that?
So they went Anna Bright.
And then the new girl.
So what their second round pick was
Andre Diascu.
Then they went Zane Navratil, and then they went Rachel Rohrabacher.
Yeah. So I thought their first three picks were great.
Yeah.
Really good. And then the fourth one is the wild card. We don't know.
So they take Rohrabacher. So the only reason I know anything about Rachel Rohrabacher is because we looked at her for Challenger. We really liked her. And I think we probably would have taken her at some point. But we were not concerned at all about anybody else taking her, especially in Premier League. Like, we thought maybe she could go second round in Challenger, possibly, and we had that 12-13. But we were not worried about losing her to a Premier League team.
Yeah.
She's still in school. She's working on her master's. She does graduate soon, but she's in Cincinnati. So she's not even playing a ton of pickleball. But she is going to Florida after, and she's going to start playing pickleball full time. And Diascu and Anna said that they would train her.
I mean, there was a lot of interesting things that happened during MLP. This was one of the things Anna Bright, Vivian Glossman at this time was on the board. Susanna Barr was on the board.
Yeah. Aren't Vivian and Anna like college roommates and BFFs?
Yeah. And so you'd think that...
What happened there, Tyler?
That's a great question.
Would you be pissed? What if because Vivian was the last female selected.
Yeah.
If she didn't get drafted, how pissed would you be?
Yeah, that would be... I just want to know why.
Yeah, because there's no way that Rohrabacher is better than Vivian. Not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Zane came over to us after, and he didn't know anything about Rachel, which,
he was wanting, because Susanna was on the board, and he's played a lot with Susanna.
Zane wanted Susanna.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any bones about that. He definitely wanted Susanna.
So just kind of interesting. I thought a lot of these teams were hopping around. A lot of these teams had 2 and even 3 really good picks. And then all of a sudden there's 1 or 2 that's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, they all have that fatal flaw. So
where do you put them? Orlando Squeeze.
So that's the thing, is like they could win it if Rohrabacher plays well. And they could be a disaster because you have to play Rohrabacher in 2 matches.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. And honestly, I watched her at PPA Denver yesterday. She's okay. She didn't blow me away. So I think she's got a long ways to go. So they're definitely drafted. It's crazy to draft 3 veterans of the sport, established solid players, and then go with this crazy wild card.
Yeah.
That not just a wild card would have been even Vivian Glossman would have been a little bit of a wild card, but she's had some success and some, her and Anna Bright made a semis together. She's played a little bit. Even a Maggie or a Mary, would have been a little bit of a wild card, but Rohrabacher was absolutely out of left field.
Yeah.
So
you think they could be top 3 or even finish bottom of the pack?
Yeah, that team's weird, dude. That team is going to go how she goes.
Okay. Texas Ranchers. So they selected Dylan Frazier, and then Georgia Johnson, Lauren Stratman, and then Travis Rettmeyer.
So the Ranchers, I actually think are fairly solid. I think that they're good at every spot. They're not great at any one spot, but they're good at every spot.
Okay.
And I think that if you're on that cusp, like if you're the ranchers and you're on that cusp of, I don't know where they finished, in the previous, but I think that the ranchers are going to be they're going to beat some teams that they shouldn't beat, and they're going to lose to some teams they shouldn't lose to. But I think that they are the epitome of a middle of the road team. I think they really truly are like a 4 or 5, 6, and they may even win one. And then, but yeah, they're good at every single spot.
Okay.
I don't see a true like major weakness, but I don't see a superstar.
Yeah. Last but not least.
By the way, real quick, Orlando Squeeze, just going back to them, Rohrabacher.
Okay.
The Squeeze are 18th right now. And one of the reasons they took Rohrabacher is because they felt like they had to hit a home run to get into Premier next time. So they took a flyer on her hoping, so that was one of the reasons.
I understand that. I just think there's other players that you can hit home runs with.
Yeah, there's a million other ones.
All right, moving on. Utah Black Diamonds. This is the last of the premier teams.
This is the number one team.
This is Pardo's baby.
Number one team in the draft.
So they drafted Annalie Waters,
Yep.
Irina, Thomas Wilson,
Yep.
and then AJ Kohler.
Yeah. This team is, in my opinion, on paper, the number one team.
Okay.
Number one drafted team. You have the clear-cut number one female in the world. Not even close.
Yeah.
You have the MLP queen, reigning champ. And just, I don't know what it is, but Irina elevates her game for MLP. She plays MLP format very well. You have Thomas, who, again, another MLP champ. And then you have AJ with, talk about a value pick. Second to last pick of the draft.
Yeah.
You're able to get AJ Kohler, who's Thomas's cousin.
Did he go third round last season?
He went second.
Second or third, yeah.
Yeah. He's Thomas's cousin, so they play with each other. They used to play together all the time.
They used to play all the time.
Yeah. He's, he can play with Annalie. He can play with Irina. He is streaky and he still has his moments, but to get him at that spot,
Yeah.
The Black Diamonds had, Connor Pardo, hate to give him all the credit in the world, but he had a heck of a draft.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job because if he doesn't take Irina there, I think Ben takes her. And then we're looking at Ben's team with Irina and not Schneemann. And we're thinking, okay, that's actually a pretty good team.
Yeah.
That's a tough team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say the Black Diamonds are my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say with that, they are hard to find flaws, but AJ and Thomas, they did play together last year, but there's a reason that they're not playing this year.
I agree. And like I said, it's tricky. AJ is the streakiest player in pickleball. And his ceiling is as good as anybody's, but his floor is right down there as bad as anybody's too. So it really depends on what AJ shows up. But the best part about this is last year in season 1, I looked at the Seattle Pioneers and I knew the Seattle Pioneers were going to win. You looked at the Fives and you knew the Fives were going to be good. You looked at the Hustlers and you're like, okay, that team's right. There's not a dominant team this year.
Yeah.
I think GMs and owners got better. I think they got smarter. I think they got better. I think that they did more research.
I would think to some extent, because you're still seeing some weird picks in there.
For sure. I agree. But there's more parity in this draft, at least on paper, than we've ever seen. And yes, there's still some weird freaking picks. The bouncers, what were you guys? I don't know what you're doing. Julian was a stretch. I think Eric Lang was rough. Rohrabacher was tough. Even Tyra in the third was, I think it has potential, but it's still a little bit of a stretch. But like I said, I think there's a lot of parity, and I think that it's exciting. You never know. You don't know who's gonna first event Atlanta, right, in September. Can you name a favorite right now? You probably can't.
Yeah.
Maybe Utah, but who knows? But AJ is also missing a Saturday.
Yeah.
For a wedding, so that's the other thing. So they're not even going to have AJ for at least one event.
Yeah.
So
I think this season is going to be very interesting because this is season 2 of MLP 2023, and next year they're going to be kind of done with drafting, and so this season, I think there's going to be a lot of focus and emphasis on, because a lot of players, they want to play next year, because from what we've heard and talking with Steve Kuhn, they're going to start changing a lot of things. They're going to try to sign players to 1, 2, 3, 5-year deals, multi-year contracts. The money's going to go up even more than it is now.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot more exposure with MLP.
We're going to have home bases.
We're going to have home bases. People are going to travel different places.
Yeah, travel. They want to do home and away. So like if Atlanta's playing Columbus, then you're going to actually travel to Columbus.
You're going to have a home court advantage.
Yeah, home court advantage. Fans, jerseys. They want to make it a true,
and I think this will kind of be the last hurrah that a lot of the owners and players will say, okay, these guys did well. And so I think that's why a lot of people are really gunning for it.
Yeah, I agree.
We've talked about this before, but the amount of money and exposure that is coming from MLP is just so much higher at the moment than other things.
Yeah. I mean, we went to that draft. So after the draft, okay, we'll go over Challenger maybe on our next pod.
Yeah, we don't have time to do it today.
We'll go over Challenger on our next pod. But after the draft, they did a huge draft party. They did it on top of the rooftop bar at Margaritaville, right in Times Square. I mean, it was insane. But there were billionaires in that room.
Yeah.
Billionaires, not billionaires. Yeah. There are guys that have ownership in major hockey teams and Major League Soccer and
basketball, football.
I mean, you got Rich Kleiman, the CEO of the Kleiman Group, and Kevin Durant owned the Aces, who Tyler was drafted by. I mean, you have a lot of freaking money in that room.
Yeah.
And those guys understand how to build teams and understand how to build a league. And you and I had a 45-minute conversation with Steve Kuhn, right? Mm-hmm. And his vision is insane. And I don't think that he won't get there. I truly believe that he is going to get there, because his vision makes sense. And he wants us to be a massive sports franchise, and he wants you to pick a team. And if you live in Utah, he wants you to be a Black Diamonds fan. And you're going to be like, yeah, I'm cheering for the Black Diamonds. And I know that Annalie Waters is going to be a member of the Black Diamonds for the next 3 or 4 years, because we're going to sign her to this deal. And he wants, you to have a training facility. And Annalie Waters is probably, she's going to have to be in Utah more than she is right now. Just like if you're in the NFL, right? You're going to move to Philadelphia because that's where you're going to practice, or San Francisco, or whoever you're with. And he's going to have home and away matches. And they're trying to build a legitimate sports franchise. I don't know what that means for the PPA. I don't know how it's going to all work. But Steve Kuhn's vision is impressive. And I really hope that they can pull it off, because that's what pickleball needs. So, yeah.
Love it. So that was just a fairly brief recap on MLP.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add with that?
By the way, I saw Travis Rettenmeyer.
Do you guys fight?
No.
Come on.
Travis?
He calls you a nobody.
Travis walked up to me. He saw me. I saw him.
He knew who you were.
He 100% knew, went right up to me. And he said, Jimmy. I looked right at me and I said, Travis. And he said, you're the only person to ever call me an effing douchebag that's never met me.
I don't know if that's true, but.
Yeah. But listen, I kind of smiled. We laughed. I don't know if he laughed. I laughed. Gave him a little bit of a bro hug. And we're good, I think.
Didn't you say you deserved it?
I said, yeah, you've earned it.
Or you've earned it.
Yeah. And I think we're good. I think it's okay. Oddly enough, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
Am I going to ever be his friend? No. Are we ever going to hang out? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, we're fine.
That's funny.
And we were good. And so that happened. Whatever. Travis leaves. So then that night when we were at the draft party, this high-ranking MLP official who was trying to help the other player get me canceled sat down with us, right?
Yes.
And we had a long conversation with her for, probably 30 minutes or more.
Yeah.
And I don't know. How do you think it went, Tyler?
It was good. Yeah. Most of these people, a lot of them, they try to put on this facade, this presence that they're this and that. But once you actually start talking to them, most people are pretty nice.
Yeah. You think her and I we're good, right?
Yeah.
We talked and we're good. And she was very candid about her position. I was candid about mine. And I felt like we're in a
A
good
lot
spot.
of it is just miscommunication and just
Yeah.
being able to understand where people are coming from.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I don't know.
That's your motivational moment.
I don't know. It's blue shirt Saturday.
It's blue shirt, blueberries.
Blueberries today. We're blueberries.
Yeah, we got to get you some different colors, different fruits.
My tan line is bad.
Yeah. Oh, somebody wanted me to send them more videos of you on the bike in Central Park.
Oh my gosh, I rode a bike in Central Park. I've never been that sweaty in my life. It was
You were struggling.
it was like 95 degrees and 90% humidity.
Every time I looked back, he's on his little bike just trying to keep up.
It was hot. Like it was legit hot. And like, anyways, it sucked. It was what a dumb idea.
How'd you like New York?
Dude, I love New York. I thought
First time ever.
First
You're
time I've
50
ever
years
been.
old. You've never been to New York.
Yeah, it was fun.
Food was good.
The food was amazing. I mean, we ate like kings.
Yeah, that was nice.
We definitely ate like
We stayed
kings.
at a nice place.
We stayed at an amazing St. Regis. That's where they filmed The Godfather, by the way, if you've ever watched it. The hotel was sick, right?
Yeah.
Like it was stupid nice.
Yeah.
And they even give you little chocolates like every night.
Dark and
milk.
milk chocolates.
Yeah. I mean, it was insane. The only thing that was wild is every time we went out to eat, listen, dude, I'm not bougie. Like I'm not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, do you want New York tap water or do you want distilled?
Yeah.
Hell if I know.
Yeah.
So we went distilled one night, you and I.
And apparently it's $15
$15 a bottle.
A bottle.
$15 for like this $15 for a bottle of water. Like what? Where the hell are we living, dude? What is happening? That's not me. I will never forget where I came from, and that's not it. Yeah, like I was embarrassed, and you like had like a $9 Pepsi.
Two of them.
And it was like that. It was like, I'm not kidding.
I thought it would be like $5 or $6 or even $7 or something like that. It was $9.
$9.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild.
Well, there that goes.
Yeah, that was wild.
Don't worry, Jimmy, I got you.
Yeah. But New York was fun. Awesome trip. It was cool to meet everybody from MLP. It's cool to hang out with, meet some players. None of my opinions have changed. If I thought you were a douche before, you still are. Just kidding. Everybody, it was awesome. It was a cool experience. I can't believe it happened from this pod, dude. I can't believe that
You put together a little reel, and it was just, it's crazy because you just, 4 or 5 weeks ago, you made a little shout out saying, anybody needing help, assistance, I'd love to help out. And literally yesterday we were in New York for the draft.
Yeah. It's not the crazy. Like, it's what a whirlwind, dude. Like, this is my life.
Yeah.
This is your life.
Come talk to us in 1 month, see where things are.
Like, it's just wild. And I don't know. It was a cool experience. I thought I would show up, bro, and I didn't think anybody would know who I was. I thought I would just
Everybody
be that guy
knows
walking
Jimmy.
around. It was kind of wild. Also, the Dink Pickle Pod, we did a live stream with them, and then we did a podcast with them, at Morning Brew, which also was a cool experience. We have 1 million followers at Morning Brew, so that was super cool to be able to do that. Those guys are cool. I mean, Thomas is cooler than Zane, but
is Zane tolerable or no?
I mean, Zane's okay. Like, I think you could handle Zane in small doses, Like, I would never want to, be friends with him or hang out with him.
Yeah. If we did a podcast with him weekly, that would be...
I couldn't do that, no. I mean, it'd have to be over Zoom, right? But, yeah, it was fun, dude. New York was awesome. Yeah, it was a great experience. Do we get some questions?
Yeah, so let's go into some questions. As always, normally we'll ask if anyone has questions on our social media 1 or 2 days before. So I did that, and we'll read them. How are you liking the newfound fame? Does it distract from playing? Jimmy, I think they're referring to you. No.
I wasn't playing much anyway, so I'm good.
It's been fun. It definitely adds a different perspective and a different just look at everything. You kind of see things differently, but it's been fun. Is Jimmy ecstatic that Travis and Christian got drafted in Premier?
So just to be clear, Travis went 4th round. I think that justifies what I said last draft.
And that's why he was mad at you.
And that's why he was mad at me, is I said that he shouldn't have taken himself 3rd round. He went 4th round, and I think he's better
than
in December of last year during that draft. I think he's actually better now. He's improved, and he still went 4th round. So, Travis, I was right.
Well, why did they have pros show up if they weren't going to show any of them?
So they did a Pickleball Cares event. I think that was the main reason. So what they did was they took some inner city kids and they put on a clinic for him. They gave him a ton of New York Hustlers gear for free and just did a pickleball clinic for all these kids for free. And they had pros fly in for that. And if the pros just happened to be there when they were drafted, then that's the only reason that they were there.
A little bit coincidental, but every single pro that was there got drafted in Premier except for like one.
Yeah. Who?
Dominic Schaefer.
She went, that's right. She went, but she did go Challenger.
Yeah.
And she was worried that she wasn't even going to go Challenger.
Yeah. So maybe next time they have a draft, just show up and you're guaranteed.
And there were a couple players that just, like Paris just showed up.
I thought she was helping with the pickleball cares thing.
Oh, was she?
I don't know. They had her name as though she was helping.
Oh, really? So maybe she was helping.
But I didn't see her actually helping.
I never saw her help. I saw her doing photo shoots and kissing babies and all that. But
all right. What happened to the stream in the beginning? I think that was just technical difficulties.
Yeah, so we got there like 30 minutes early and they were trying to set it up and it was a disaster. And so in the end, Tyler actually just pulled out he had a tripod
in my bag. So I saved them. I saved Pickleball.
You did. Yeah, he just pulled out a tripod and we just had to freaking wing it.
One thing I'm going to put out there is I think most people, the lay person, they don't understand the amount of time, effort, and money that goes into a lot of these things. And so, out there in New York, it was a remote setup and they just didn't have some of the connections and things weren't going. And so they just did stuff essentially with a phone, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Which challenger team had the best draft? We'll probably get into that next time. Off the top of your head, I would say Milwaukee Mashers. That's with DJ Young.
They went DJ. Yeah. I mean, that team drafted well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm going to say Black Bears, but I'll try and be unbiased and we'll get into it next podcast, but cause Challenger is hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard because, a lot of players are gone and it's tough. So yeah, we'll get into that.
What were the GMs saying about Callan Dawson? Why not draft from a GM point of view?
So Callan's interesting because Callan he did play left side with Tyler, but Callan's essentially a right side male. He doesn't play well in mixed and he doesn't play singles. Mm-hmm. He's a Colin Johns without the podiums, in my opinion. And I think Callan's great, and I think he's top 10 men's doubles player, in my opinion. I really think that. I mean, you and him had how many freaking medals last year?
We had quite a few.
But in an MLP format, he doesn't quite fit what people are looking for. Now, I do think Callan's going to get picked up in the shuffle draft because I think some people made some mistakes.
Yeah. I think he should have been drafted challenger.
Yeah.
And Connor Pardo, I mean, he made a tweet. He tweeted saying every challenger owner and GM should be fired for not drafting Callan.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you what Connor thinks of Callan.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Are you playing Denver?" I am not. And apparently this is the first tournament that I have not attended of the PPA since they've been running. So in 3 to 4 years, I've played in every single tournament, and this one, Denver, is the first one that I have not participated.
It's over.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Anything wild happen at the after party? Anything crazy happen up there?
Not that I saw. There's nothing that was like.
It was pretty low key because there weren't all the players and stuff. So it was just mostly the owners, and some players were there, but mostly just the owners.
Yeah, it was pretty chill. Honestly, it was more like a good networking event too. I felt like
just connecting with different owners and people.
Talking to different owners and different. There's a lot of freaking money there, though. I'll tell you that. Good night.
What did you whisper to Jimmy before the Lacey pick? I think they're talking about on the live stream when
you walked over?
When I went up to you and mentioned something, and that's when Travis got mad at you.
Oh, when Thomas got mad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What did I whisper?
Do you want me to say?
I don't know. Probably not.
Are you sure? I'll say it.
No, you can say it on your own podcast.
Isn't this both of ours?
Kind of. Are you able to give a range as to how much first, second, and third, fourth round picks are getting paid? So last season, I don't know if they've changed it. I know first round pick or Ben Johns or the top 2 picks were getting around $8,000 per event. And then PPA would match that. And so they would essentially walk away with anywhere from 15 to 20 just for participating in the event. Yeah. Now that's the top end. Yeah. The lowest end, the 4th round pick, like 48th around where I'm at, you're probably seeing maybe 1,500 to 3,000, and then PPA matches that. So you're seeing anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 just for showing up, and then if you win or not. I'm pretty sure it's online somewhere. You can find that information. Anything adding there?
No.
Thoughts on Callan and Sam Querrey not being drafted at all? Thoughts?
I mean, we mentioned Callan. I just don't think Sam's very good. Like, he's just not good. He's not good enough.
You don't think he should have made Challenger?
No, I don't think he's quite good enough. If Callan didn't make Challenger, Sam shouldn't make Challenger. I mean, there's a lot of good. Pat Smith didn't make Challenger.
Yeah.
Steve Deacon. There's a lot of good players that didn't make Challenger. And Sam's just not. He just hasn't had the success. Yeah.
Did Hunter only get picked because Paris?
It's interesting. Hunter's had good success in APP, so it's not like he's a slouch. But I don't think Hunter's better than Rob Nunnery. I don't think Hunter's better than Gabe Tardio. I don't think he's better than,
And so that goes into the point where he played with Atlanta before.
Yeah.
And so they know him. And then he also is very familiar with Paris. And so I think there's a lot.
How familiar?
I don't know. They probably, I don't know. Get him on the pod?
I bet they've never even kissed.
No.
She doesn't seem like the type.
So I was actually doing a little bit of reflection, and I was thinking this would fizzle out, but it almost seems like a lot of players are getting drafted based on who they know and kind of their clout and their potential rather than their skill at the current moment.
Yeah, for sure.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
The relationships
I thought that would have
matter.
fizzled out a little bit more.
But the relationships matter. And we
do.
saw it. We saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people that were drafted, and not that they're not good players and they don't earn it, but
their chemistry on the teams.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we know for a fact that somebody has promised, like, I heard it straight. I mean, I'll say it. Connor Pardo said straight from his mouth, you weren't there. He said, Tyler Loong will never play in Challenger as long as I'm a team owner.
I don't know if that's possible. That's true, but
true or not, he was basically saying that my relationship with Tyler, my history with Tyler, I love Tyler. He's like, I will always draft Tyler if I have a choice.
I think it's because he's seen my potential.
Well, yeah, he knows you're good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying has nothing to do with I'm not saying it doesn't have a lot to do with your skill level.
Yeah.
But he also is like, Tyler belongs. And then he also, just to be clear, he also walked up and down. This is one thing that I can't believe I'm going to say this, respect about Connor is he walked up and down those tents in Challenger and he was lobbying for his guys. That, because he didn't have a Challenger team this year, but he lobbied for Spencer Smith.
Yeah.
He lobbied for Todd Fott. He lobbied for a lot of these guys that he knows, whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I think he was probably a little bit high on his draft pick, so he was in a good mood.
He felt great.
All right.
Also told me he remembered our match at PPA Red Rock.
We got to get him on the pod in person.
Yeah, he remembered it though.
Okay.
Every detail. He even told me what court it was on. So he knows he hooked me.
All right. Somebody we know asked, how many men drafted ahead of Ty have consistently beat him? 13 no's. So I think they were saying that there was 13 people that got drafted ahead of me that consistently lose to me. I don't know what 13 people those are, but
So you have a winning record against 13 males that were picked ahead of you.
that's what it seems like. I don't know. I haven't fact checked that, but that's what.
That's kind of wild, dude.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a very important stat.
It is. And MLP is very interesting. I mean, I feel like I should have been drafted, but you honestly never know. Like, you never know. You want to be drafted 48. You want to be drafted 47, 46, 45, 44, because you can always add value to teams. I can add value to Ben. I can add value to JW.
Yeah.
But that's what I was just saying is I feel like there's a lot of players that I've beaten. I have better records than in doubles, mixed doubles, and singles, and they went way above me.
Do you think that
For example, Julian. I mean, Julian's a great player. Yeah. I've beaten him in singles. I've beaten him in mixed doubles. The last time I beat him in mixed doubles, and I've beaten him in men's doubles too. And
do you think Ben would have taken you over Eric Lang if you were still there?
If I was still there, I would think so, especially with my lefty combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But say Connor goes AJ Kohler, okay? And it's you and Eric Lang sitting on the board.
And Ben's the last pick.
Yeah.
I mean, he picked me last time, so.
I think Connor would have gone you and then Ben would have gone AJ.
Yeah.
So,
but that is interesting. And I don't think it's only with me. I'm sure there's other people that are in the same situation where, I mean, for example, Kellen Dawson, he's beaten a lot of these players. So there's something that these owners are thinking or they're not thinking that is making them want to draft the Julians, Connor Garnett, who was in Challenger and he got drafted 4th round.
Yeah.
Which actually isn't too bad. But Rafa, for example, Rafa got 3rd round.
Yeah, Pablo
got 3rd round. He was in Challenger last. So it'll be interesting to see.
I mean, even female side, Tyra went 3rd round.
Yeah.
Tyra went, so.
Okay. Next guest. We love the one with episode with Leia. By the way, she's fun. We actually did another one with Tyra. That'll probably be released in the next week or so. And then we got a couple more pros lined up. And then, like I said, we really want to get Pardo out here. So we'll see.
If there's anybody you guys want, let us know. Yeah. But I think it's okay I think we have a couple. Should we say who we have lined up?
Sure.
I think we're going to have James Ignatowicz. So we're just working that out right now. And that is going to be
fiery,
an absolute treat. And then I think we're going to have Lucy Kovalova as well. So Lucy withdrew from MLP Draft. So I think we may get a candid Lucy on what she thinks about the picks.
Okay. There's a couple more. We're just going briefly through them. How do you feel about Susanna Barr not being in Premier? Low-key criminal. I actually agree. I like Susanna. I think she's quirky, but she's good, and she's actually been getting better the past year.
I think so too. I mean, I think
the gloves come off.
Yeah, the glove came off, and Susanna elevated her game. Yeah, I think it's tough. I think Susanna over Rohrabacher makes way too much sense. I mean, way too much sense. If you have Susanna playing with Zane.
But not only Susanna, but Vivian was there too.
Yeah, Vivian was there too.
Jelly B was there.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you want, but she was there.
Who?
Jelly B, your girl.
I don't know who that is.
I think you do.
Cancel her. She tried to cancel me.
Did the Premier and Challenger draft go the way you thought it would? I mean, to some extent, there were some random things or some weird things that I didn't agree with or whatever. But in the end, I think more or less it did go.
Yeah, I think it went great. Yeah.
Do you have any more footage from New York? We had quite a bit. As always, I'm always having these ideas, wanting to do these things. And then when we get there, they never happen. Yeah. We had so much stuff planned and maybe...
We wanted to go play on some courts and try and find... We actually saw some courts the first night.
That were like legit, just straight concrete.
Broken concrete. They weren't even full size and they had 2 nets.
Yeah. And they were packed.
It was wild. Like I couldn't believe how packed it was. But we didn't even know where we were. So I don't think how we could ever find them again.
Yeah. How are you and Leia such good friends? I've been friends with Leia ever since she started for the most part. And I don't know, I just enjoy talking with her. So she has some funny things to say. And I enjoy being around people who are funny sometimes.
That's why we're friends.
You're not that funny.
I'm pretty funny.
Jimmy, do you think Riley being picked 3rd overall was deserved?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad pick. I think that's right.
That's
right where I'd expect Riley to go. Honestly, if Riley had gone 2nd, it wouldn't have surprised me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Not that I like him. I just think that it's... Also, I hope he doesn't make a cringy video about him being picked 3rd.
Oh, man.
That dude has the worst videos on the internet. They're awful. So, yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Once again, thank you to our sponsors. Pickler Shop coming in hot with that title sponsorship, so we really appreciate it. Check them out. It helps us. It helps them, and you're getting a great product. Use code KOTC at picklershop.com. Mod balls, you can't leave without them. Best thing out there. They're going to fill you up and feel you up. Do you like that?
Oh, wait, feel? Okay, never mind. My mind went somewhere else. My mind went somewhere totally inappropriate. Keep going.
Jimmy likes them with ice cream.
Yeah.
Crown Pickleball, we love them. And we actually got a message while we were recording this saying that they just got a new shipment in. And so go place your order for some balls. They're going to hold up. They're not going to break. Really good company, really good people. So check them out. Use code KOTC for some free shipping. And then last but not least, we got Vulcan. Jimmy loves him some Vulcan.
Hey, Vulcan sent me a package, by the way, of some stuff. Bro, it is wild. They hooked it up. So shout out Vulcan.
Check them out. They got good products. They got really
DM
innovative.
me. Let's play some games and you can try out a Vulcan. I think I have every Vulcan paddle ever made.
Most of the people listening are not in Utah, so.
Well, some of you are.
Some of them are.
Or let's play an MLP. I think I'm going to be at all the MLPs.
Yeah, we'll see. We've heard that one before. San Clemente, he was a no-show.
Dude, I went to New York.
But you also no-showed in San Clemente.
You can't hold that over my head forever.
Okay.
Forgive and forget.
Anyways, if there's any pressing topics you guys would love us to discuss, drop them down low. If you could, make sure to give this a like, a follow, and share. It really helps us grow and get this content out there to new people.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jimmy?
No, that's it. Long one as usual. Always goes over.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. Thanks, guys.